This video will be doing a brief debrief of the problem-based task on the shelf. We're going to be solving quadratic equations in finding the area of this shelf. So our task is Kareem wants to put up a small corner shelf in his room. The shelf is in the shape of a right triangle. One leg of the triangle is 2 inches shorter than the other. The longest side of the shelf is 10 inches long. Kareem needs to find the area of the shelf so that he knows if he has enough paint to cover the top of the shelf. The area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height. Now this is going to draw on some prior knowledge for us. We're going to have to write some equations before we can actually use what we know about quadratics to solve. So the length of our long leg of our triangle is x. How can the length of the short leg be expressed in terms of x? Let me flip him back a little bit here. So the one leg of the triangle is 2 inches shorter than the other. So we have x, and we have x minus 2. This is long, this is short, long leg, short leg. Pythagorean theorem. So we take our long leg plus our short leg equals the longest side. Those are all squared. Okay, so let's go ahead and distribute here. So we get our x squared plus x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 100. And I'm going to get this set equal to 0 in one quick step right here with 2x squared minus 4x minus 96 equals 0. Okay, so I kind of did a bit of combining here to skip a few steps in there. But this is what our simplified equation will be, set equal to 0. Now we have a quadratic equation. We've seen that if we set it equal to 0, that means that we can solve this equation to see what x could be in this scenario. Okay, so now we're going to go and factor. Now the first thing I think about is we got to factor out this 2. Okay, so this 2 we can factor out because there's a 2 in this first term. We can divide 4 by 2. We can divide 96 by 2. So let's take out our 2. 2x squared minus 2x minus 48 equals 0. Now we're looking for numbers that multiply to make negative 48 and add up to negative 2. So I'm thinking, let's see, maybe negative 12 times 4. Let's see. We've got, negative 8 times 6. Oh, that's going to work for negative 48, and negative 8 plus 6 equals negative 2. So that is our group we want. We have 2 times x minus 8 times x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, now the zero product property. That tells us that if we have two numbers multiplied together, one of them must be 0, if that product is going to be 0. So we can either have x minus 8 equals 0, or x plus 6, made a mistake up there, x plus 6 equals 0. So if we get those by themselves, we have x equals 8, so add 8, x equals 8, or we subtract 6 from both sides and we say x equals negative 6. Do both of our answers make sense as side lengths? Hopefully you said no. We can't have a negative side length. That would not make sense. Okay? We got to be thinking about this. Okay? So now we know that x equals 8. We can now plug this into our leg. So we had 8 and we had 8 minus 2, so we have length of 8 and length of 6. Okay, so there's our base, here's our height, and so our area equals 1/2 times 8 times 6, which equals 24. Okay? So this is applying what we know about solving quadratics by factoring, and then also using the zero product property, and then something that's just common sense. Okay, that's part of math and applications is, does our answer make sense? We have to be able to tell, does it make sense to have a negative length? Not at all. Okay, so we can toss that one out. We only care about the positive length. Okay, and then we can plug in, find the area of our triangle and see that, I think that this is in terms of inches. So inches squared, it's going to need 24 inches squared of paint in order to cover that entire shelf.